You hear yourself making an excuse, and in the back of your head, there's a voice that goes, "That's not even true." But it's already too late. The words are out, and you both know what just happened. That reflex, it was installed before you were old enough to choose it. And it's not about protecting your reputation, it's protecting something much, much deeper than that. My name is Mihna. I'm an engineer. I'm not a therapist. And this one, I'm not talking about it from the other side. I'm still in the middle of it. I'm still catching myself doing this. So let's figure this out together. By the end of this video, you'll get why your brain does this before you can even stop it, what that reflex is actually trying to protect, and what happens when you finally just say, "my fault," and nothing actually breaks. Think about the last time someone called you out on something. Maybe it was small, a missed deadline, or a forgotten promise that you made. Something you said just landed wrong, but what happened next? If you're anything like me, your mouth started moving before your brain gave permission, unfortunately. Well, the reason is this happened because dot dot dot, and here's the argument. And here's the weird part. You know what you're doing while doing it. Super weird, I know. There's a part of you watching yourself making the excuse, going, "Why am I even saying this?" But the words keep coming anyway. I've been trying to figure out why, because it's not a decision, right? You don't sit there thinking, "Okay, I'm going to deflect this one way or another." It just happens. Like when you're pulling your hand back of a hot stove. Except there's no hot stove and your hand is not in danger. So what's going on? Why does something as small as, "Hey, you forgot to send me that email," triggers a full defensive response in you? I think the answer is that your brain believes something is in danger. It's just not what you'd expect. So I've been sitting with this question. What does my brain think is happening when someone points out I'm wrong? And I think there's a belief running underneath this. One I didn't know I had until I started paying attention. And it goes something like, if it's their fault, I don't have to feel this, right? Great. You know that tight feeling in your chest when something goes wrong and might be your fault? The excuse is an escape hatch from that feeling. Not from the situation, but from the guilt. And here's what I started noticing. When I make an excuse, I'm not really trying to convince them, for sure not. I'm actually trying to convince myself that I'm not the kind of person who messes up like this. That I didn't do the thing that I know I did. I know it's very mature and really impressive self-awareness happening in real time. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. The excuse isn't about winning an argument. It's about not having to feel something uncomfortable for even 5 seconds. But that's not even the part that got me. What got me was what happened next. Here's what I've noticed happens after the excuse lands. You make it, they don't buy it, and now it's a bit weird. Now you feel like you're being accused of something. So what do you naturally do? You double down. You provide more reasons, more context, more, "Yes, but you have to understand." And of course they push back harder because now it looks like you're dodging. And the more they push, the more cornered you feel. And the more cornered you feel, the more you reach for blame. Makes sense, right? That's the trap. The blame doesn't get you out, it just digs you a deeper hole to sink in. You stop arguing about the original thing in the first place, now you're fighting to show that you're not wrong. There's this feeling that keeps coming up. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Nice, right? You're trapped. There's no exit and your brain only knows one move, more blame. And if you ever been in one of those spirals where you can hear yourself getting louder and louder, making less sense, and there's one part of you going, stop talking, for the love of God, stop talking." Yeah, me too. But if blame isn't actually protecting you from the situation, what is it protecting? I've been thinking about what it would actually mean to admit that I'm fully wrong. Not the half version of it where I say, "Yeah, I could have done better here," while still listing what they did wrong. Actually saying, "This one is on me, full stop." And I notice my whole body resisting it. There's something underneath that feels like, if I admit I was wrong, do I actually lose the right to be angry at them? Like it's either or. Either they are the problem or am I? Either I'm blameless or I'm the villain. And I think that's the real fear. Not looking bad, something deeper. The question underneath is, if I'm wrong, am I still acceptable? Psychologists actually have a name for this pattern, but the name here is less important than the actual question. They call it ego protective defense mechanisms or rationalization. That one question, am I still acceptable, is driving every excuse you ever made on autopilot. Every single one of them. And the question didn't start at work, and it didn't start last year. I've been trying to trace back where this reflex comes from, and I think at some point being wrong became dangerous. Maybe it was a parent who got angry when you made silly mistakes, or a teacher who made you an example in front of the whole class, or maybe just this general sense that good people don't mess up, and if you mess up, there's something wrong with you or with me. It's somewhere between 3 and 4 years old where your brain writes a rule. Admitting fault equals rejection. Being wrong equals being pushed out of the group. The only way to stay safe is to never be the one that is at fault, right? The thing is, this rule got written before you could even question it. Before you could decide, wait, is this actually true? And now, years later, decades later, your mouth is still following instructions from a version of you that was just trying to survive the childhood. The reflex itself is not random and is not a character flaw. It's an old protection system that never got updated. But here's what nobody warns you about it: the cost of keeping it running. You've become the person who never owns anything, and people notice that. They might not say it out loud, but they notice it. Please trust me about it. They stop bringing things up to you because they know you'll have a reason, and they stop trusting your version of events because there's always an explanation why it wasn't you. And if you ever felt like people were pulling away and genuinely don't understand why, this might be the reason why. I know this one personally. There's a situation at work I've been processing for a while, and I noticed something. Every single time I talk about this, I led with what they did. Every single conversation, what they promised, what they didn't deliver, how they handled things, and all of them are true and all are real. But there's another voice I kept not saying out loud. The one about what I let happen, what I believed when maybe I shouldn't believe, what I didn't push back when I had the chance to push back. They might be 80% at fault, that's for sure, but that 20% I kept skipping, that's the part that follows me home every single day. And no amount of blaming them makes it quiet. Maybe you have a version of this too. A story you keep telling where your part stays conveniently small. So you've been asking now, if blaming them doesn't make it quiet and admitting it feels almost impossible, what's left to do? I'm still trying to figure this out, but here's what I'm learning as we go. It's not willpower, it's not take responsibility like some poster on a corporate hallway. It's realizing that both of those things can be true at the same time. They can be wrong and you can have a part in it. I know it sounds really shitty, but it's true. You can be angry and still own that 20%. Admitting your piece of the puzzle doesn't erase theirs. I think that's the lie underneath all of this. The either or comparison. Either they are the villain or you are. Either you're blameless or you're unacceptable. But that's not real. You can say I trusted when I shouldn't have without saying so I deserve what's happening to me right now. You can say I didn't push back without letting them off the hook for what they actually did to you. The first time I tried this, I did something stupidly simple. Someone pointed out something to me, and instead of trying to explain why it happened, I just said, yeah, that's on me. 4 words. My brain screamed, but nothing broke, huh? Nobody lost respect and nobody used it against me. Turns out, admitting your part doesn't make you unacceptable, it makes you someone that people can actually trust. And I think more importantly than this, it makes you someone that you can trust yourself with. I know it's a paradox, but it makes perfect sense. So next time you catch your mouth moving before your brain can actually stop it, please don't beat yourself up for making excuses. Just pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself what you're actually protecting. Because I don't think it's your reputation. I think it's something much, much older than that. and it might be the time to update the system. I'm still working on mine, so let's see how this goes in the next year. If this one hits close to home, tell me in the comments. I want to know I'm not the only one doing this. Until next time, please take care of yourself. I really mean that. I'll see you next time. Bye.